Hello, fellow overcomers. Our second episode of Overcomers is coming right now to you, and I hope that you're blessed by it and you share with someone else to tune in. Call them, text them, email them, tell them Overcomers is on. Well, this special guest is Reverend Ricky Harris from Chicago, Illinois. Well, we're going to go where his whole story began. In the inner city of Chicago, we're going to meet him, and we got to hurry up because the rain's coming. There's a little window, it looks like, that we should be able to catch and be able to record his testimony of overcoming in this life that God has given him. Well, let's get going. We don't want to miss this wonderful, great man of God. All right, Reverend Harris, I had Pastor Stiegel last week, as you know, and I told you, and you was the next one that was on my heart for this series named Overcomers, and I felt that the experiences and the testimonies that you've given me over the last, how long have we been knowing each other about now, Reverend Harris?
It's a good 6 years.
Good 6 years. As I get to know you more and you share and you've opened up about the different ones, it's like, it's hard to even believe. It's like, come on, that can't be true. That can't be true. I just had to have you. And I'm gonna have to have you back. I am gonna tell you the truth, because a half an hour only really gives room for one of your stories if I did it the way I would love to have time to do it. Tell me, what does this right behind us? I'm gonna video it later. I'm gonna show this field that it looks like they're getting ready to set up and maybe play soccer. Oh, he's playing with his dog out there. This field that's just an open grass field. What was that to you?
Well, it was a place where I was raised at. It was home. It was a place where I was brought up at. It was my life.
It was your life.
Yes.
And what was that? What did that used to be?
It used to be a project. It used to be a building right over there, and then there was other buildings and row houses further down.
What size of building was in that lot?
It was 13 stories. Each floor had 16 apartments in it.
13 stories. You know, it's funny, when I called you yesterday, when I came over here to look at this area that I heard, your different testimonies of your life over here, I drove to the other side of that the red house there, and I saw foundations.
Yes.
And on my way here, I was thinking, Reverend Harris, there's still signs of foundations of that building, but there's no signs of foundations of your building.
Yeah.
And I felt it was so fitting for you. There's no signs of what used to be here.
Yes.
Of you. Just like your own life that you're getting ready to tell me about and share with the viewers. There's no signs of that foundation in you. I don't see it.
I get that a lot.
You get that a lot.
Yes.
So take me to your birth. I want to go back to, let's start right there.
With my birth, my mother, her name was Deborah Harris. I actually found out her name when I was 11.
When you were 11?
Yes. As people used to say her name, and I never knew who they was talking about.
Oh, you would hear her name?
Yes.
Among your family?
Yes.
And wouldn't realize that they were talking about your mom?
Exactly. She was a prostitute and a drug user.
Okay.
And she would leave us in the home weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks by herself. It used to be me and my 3 sisters. I'm the baby boy. And one day, somebody knocked on the door, and DCFS came and took us. And so we went to this place. This lady, she used to keep us in the basement, and we couldn't never come upstairs. we used to get, she used to feed us from the stairs. So the food that we'll eat, she used to put it on the stairs and close the door. And then when she closed the door, we come up and get the food to eat it. We stayed there for about maybe 4 or 5 months, I believe. And then once we left there, we went to the house, the place where I grew up at, which was...
Is it here or no?
Yes, it was here.
Right here. This is
Yes.
where you end up.
Yes.
Okay.
And
So now the one that would feed you from, so expound a little more on that, if you would.
well, I only, since I was a baby, I really only have what they gave me
Okay.
with my sister.
Okay,
told me.
this is something your sister shared
Yes.
with you because she's older.
Yes.
How much older
she's
is your
10 years
sister?
older than me.
Oh, she's 10 years?
Yes, 10 years.
Oh, so she remembers a lot of this
Yes,
hardship
yes.
that you guys had to face.
Yes. She told me stories about that she remembered when the pimp used to come in and beat our mom and beat her in the bed while we was laying next to her and then drag her out the house.
Jesus.
And so she wouldn't be coming back for a couple of weeks. And when she did come back, she'd have marks all on her and face swole, and she just lay in the bed with us, like, and mention nothing about what happened.
Jesus. Just a victim.
Yes. She told me stories about my father, about how they said it was a miracle for me to even be alive because he used to beat on her. And he used to kick her down the stairs while she was pregnant with me. And they were surprised that I still was able to be born.
What a miracle. Jesus. Okay, so now, yeah, you almost just, woo. So here you are now, and you said your sister told you how that someone would just feed you?
Yes.
From
the lady that the DCFS put us with, she really didn't have no relationship with us. She was only in it for the money.
Okay.
And so we didn't have any beds or anything. We just stayed in the basement.
No beds.
No, me, my older sister, and my sister. I'm the baby, but she's the next one higher than me.
And she would just give you food and you stayed in the basement.
Yes.
Your life was in the basement as a
Yes.
toddler.
Yes.
As a
And
little.
my sister took care of me.
Wow.
And this was when I was like about 6 months.
Man, look how God let you have somebody to watch over you, your own
Yes.
sister.
Yes. And also, because I had drugs in my system, I wasn't, one of the regular kind of babies. I had fits. I had a lot of problems with me.
And so your sister dealt with these different behavior things that you were dealing with,
Yes.
but she stayed by your side, it
Yes.
sounds like.
Yes.
Wow. So now, then you tell me, then you ended up getting taken by a foster parent right here, right?
Yes. Well,
in this building.
how
would
it
have been here.
how it happened was my uncle married this lady,
Okay.
and he asked her if she could, take us in, and she took us in, and she placed me with the grandmother and placed my other two sisters with her mother.
So this is your actual uncle,
Yes, this is my actual uncle. Yes.
and he got his wife to
Yes.
take you in, her distant nephew, not by blood.
Right.
And did he take in your sister also?
Yes, he
They
took
did?
he took in all of us.
Oh, how many was there?
It's 4 of us, but one of the sisters, she went with her grandmother, and me, my sister Keena, my sister Rashara, we went with my uncle.
So now you're with your uncle, which is your aunt,
Yes.
and share with me how this experience now was. Now it's not somebody just getting paid for taking care of you, right? This is family. Now, everybody has their own story
Yes.
of why they do what they do.
Yes.
And that's what's so amazing, what we're going to get to when you shared some of these things with me. But
Yes.
how was the environment of...
Well,
She had other children too, if I remember
Yes.
correctly.
she actually has a daughter that's a year younger than me, and my uncle, they stayed married for about a year. Then after the year, he left and left us with the family.
So he left and she kept you?
Yes.
Jesus.
And so I went with her grandmother, and my sisters went with her mother.
Okay.
And so this Prairie Courts was where I was raised at. And, looking back at it, back then, from the time that I can remember my childhood, it was rough.
It was rough.
Yes. To the point of being locked in cages. Sometimes I used to get locked in the cage with the cat. And we had a mean cat, and I used to have to hold the cat down and keep from getting scratched up.
Wow.
And this was like my punishment.
It was your punishment.
Yes.
Because you had some troubles. You
Yes.
were kind of, because you were a little hard, right. So this is how she was trying to train you.
It actually trained me.
It actually did. So when you look back, how did being locked in a cage with the cat train you?
It made me man up to the world. It made me, I used to have so much hatred and anger, towards her for a lot of the stuff that I went through. But as I got older, I realized that it made me the man who I was. I remember a time when I came home bloody from school and came in crying. And my grandmother, she got mad at me.
She got mad at you?
Yes. And she asked me, why am I coming in all bloody crying like a punk? And she grabbed me by my neck and told me to show her who whooped me. And I showed her, and she said, she took me to the guy and told me, now if you don't beat the mess out of him, I'm gonna beat the mess out of you.
Jesus.
And I beat the mess out of that guy because I was afraid of
your grandma.
Yes.
Yes. You were afraid of, right?
Yes.
So now, around what age was you here at this place where she's hardening you up for where she's bringing you up? Really,
Yes.
she's bringing you up in a rough area.
Yes.
And she knew for you to survive where she had you, that you were going to have, in her mind.
Yes. Well, that situation happened at 7.
7 years old. So
Yes.
not no 14, 15, 7. Jesus. So here you are. And now, had you already started getting involved in the drug life?
The age 7, no, not you.
No. About what age did you start this?
It was around, I think I was 11.
11.
I know I was in 6th grade.
So 4 years later.
Yes.
And how did you get introduced to that?
Well, it was the only thing that you saw around you. Because when I was younger, I used to watch Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy.
So I wanted to be a detective when I was younger.
Uh-huh.
But then, when you start seeing the environment and the things that the police used to do to you around here, being a detective, being a police officer wasn't something that you continue to want to be.
Wow.
So, I say around, I started hanging out with, some of the guys. One of the things that they did, some of the guys did, they wanted you to be in school.
Oh, they did? They
Yes.
would want you to be in school?
Yes. But you had some guys that told you that schools was for fools.
Right.
And you ain't making no money in school. And so what I used to do was, because my brother, my adopted brother, he was a drug dealer.
He was.
Yes. And so as I got older, I wanted to be like him.
Be like him, because he probably had some things.
Yes.
The clothes and...
Yes, he had the clothes, the money. He had it.
Right, he had it.
And so I used to, when I was in, I think 5th grade, I used to steal his weed because I knew where his spots was at. I used to steal some of his, pinch off his weed because he had big old things of weed and stuff like that. And so I used to pinch off his weed and then sell it. And then when I got started, I had found 2 ounces of coke in the school library.
Wow.
And from there, just started selling drugs.
Wow. amazing. What's this building right behind us?
This is the precinct, the police precinct.
This was the police precinct.
Yes.
Now, you told me when I came over here and I called you, I says, how was the police station right next to the project?
Yeah.
What did you say? What was there?
Police used to be scared to come to the building.
They were scared to come to the building.
Yes.
Right here, where you could look out the window, come out the back door.
Yep.
And be at it.
Yep.
There was so much violence that they were afraid.
Yes.
And that's where you had to live.
Yes.
Where they were afraid to go.
Yes.
The ones that legally can carry firearms and call themselves the law.
Yes. This police station, we had a lot of encounters with them. A lot of police, they used to sell guns to us.
They would sell the guns.
Yes. They used to sell guns to us. And sometimes that they would, you get on their bad side, they'll take you and drop you off in your rival neighborhood. And you used to have to run back home.
They wanted to keep some fear in you,
Yes.
even though they feared you.
Yes.
Wow. Share with us what started leading you out of this life. Now, you told me, I want to jump real quick back before we get there, that you had gotten where you were put in juvie. Tell a little about that, what you shared with me up on the roof whenever we were cleaning the roof of the church.
Well, I used to go to the school right across the street,
Okay.
Dunbar.
Okay, Dunbar.
And I messed around and stabbed somebody up in the biology class. I stabbed him up with a scalpel. And I stayed in there. My mind was telling me to run, but my body just didn't move. It was like, hey, it is what it is. So they locked me up, put me in juvenile, and they was trying to keep me until I was 18. But it came to an agreement when it all boiled down that they was gonna put me in this program. It was a program for juveniles.
For juveniles.
For juveniles, even for people that came out of the joint.
Okay.
And so they put me in this program. I finished the program, but I didn't mingle with the kids there because I felt in my head I was I was already grown.
Now, you told me the clothes you were wearing while you're in this
Yes.
was
The clothes that I was wearing was costed. I have like $4,000 worth of clothes on.
wow.
And the guys, the mentors, that they knew I was a drug dealer. One time, my mentor picked me up, and I had told him, "Hold on, let me serve a few of these customers before I go." And he waited.
But they liked you, didn't they?
Yeah,
because you still had a good personality.
Yes.
In spite of you being so dangerous.
Yes.
you were dangerous. What was the milestone where you ended up moving you from that life to where that today you're a man of God, you're a preacher, you're an ordained preacher of the gospel of Jesus Christ?
Yes.
That goes against everything that life had you in.
Yes. Got tired. It's like a cycle.
Wow.
When you live this life, you constantly looking behind your back. You don't know who your true enemies are. You don't know even the friends, the circle who you hang with can be your enemy. And it's like you get tired of it. It was to the point to where I didn't even trust my own brothers. I slept with one eye open because I didn't know if they was gonna take me out. So much jealousy, envy, hatred. And so, I got tired of it. Instead of getting locked up constantly. Get out 3 months, you lock right back up. Get out for 2 months, you lock right back up. Yeah, get tired of it. Before I got locked up, I felt the Lord tugging me. And I actually got up and, because I had went to my sister church one day. And, they was, calling an altar call.
Mm-hmm.
I got up and I went down there and gave myself over to the Lord. And that same week, I got locked up. Yep, and all the Lord stuff went right out the door.
right. You're supposed to make my life better.
Yeah.
Now I'm in jail again.
Yes. It wasn't even, you're supposed to make my life better. It was, ain't no Jesus going on up in this county. You gotta be tough up in there. You can't come up in there trying to be all,
I'm saved now.
Yeah. Because they're going to save right up your head, right upside your head.
Wow.
And so I had to put on that coat again.
Right. You're like, okay. Yeah. I got to be ready for whatever comes if I'm going to survive this.
Yes. And being up in the county is like another project. You had to fight for survival. And it got to the point, out in the street, the law of the gang was really kind of dying down. It wasn't as strong as it used to be. But in the county, it went by straight law.
It ran by straight law.
Yeah, it ran by straight law. And like, if you violate any one of them laws, or you're going to get violated hard.
So now when you get out of jail.
When I get out, well, what time? When? I got locked up, got out, got locked up, got out.
So many times. But
yes.
when you got out the last time, how about that? You got out
when I got out the last time, they told me that I had to either go to school or get a job. And when I got back to like the neighborhood, it wasn't the same no more.
It wasn't the same.
You had the guys who we taught to be hard. They was taking over. It was a lot of shootings, wars and stuff going on. And I was like questioning myself, like, why? Why is I'm steady going down this path? My biggest fear was I didn't want to get locked up again. I started going to school.
Okay.
And I started going to school, and like that first month, because I came out swole, drinking straight water, no liquor, no weed. But being around that environment, it draws you back in. I started slipping, going back, selling a little weed. But at that time, I was doing, I had to be in the house at 7.
Okay.
And so what I would do, because they would come and drive to see if you were in the house.
Okay.
So what I do is I stay in the house till they leave. Then I sneak out.
Oh.
And a few times they came back around.
It got you.
It caught me outside. They threatened that I was going to get locked back up. And at this time, this is where I met my wife now. But at the time, she was my cousin's girl.
Okay. Okay.
And he used to leave her in the house with me, because I had to be in 7. And so, we went from, because she was in school also.
Okay.
And so, we used to sit and watch TV.
Mm-hmm.
But then it went from, what I told her was, I had a hard time doing math.
Mm-hmm. Doing it for your school.
Right. And I needed somebody to help me.
Uh-huh.
She was bad at math.
Okay.
I was good at math. So, that was...
So you had to act like you didn't know what you were doing. So when she was telling you the wrong answer, you had to act like you didn't know it was wrong. I got you.
Well, I started going over her house.
Uh-huh.
And she stopped coming over there. We was friends. Then we started going out. And it was like an escape for me. Because her house was like, I don't have to be around this.
Wow. Right.
And so eventually I started spending nights over her house. And a year later we got married. Her mother showed me love, that something that I never felt before.
Wow.
Like, even though that it was a lot of, stupid stuff I was doing.
So her mother showed you love.
Yes. And so, in spite of the stuff that I was doing, she still, even to the point to where she said that she would adopt me, and I felt like that.
This is love I've never felt.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she would, even at that time, she would take my side over
her daughter, right?
Over her daughter. It was just, I enjoyed being around it.
Wow.
And I started, staying over there. And a year later, we got married. And actually, before we got married, she started going to church.
Your wife?
Right. She started going to church.
Okay.
This was around the same time that I got my head busted in, fingers broke, nose broke, just tore up. She had asked me that I want to go to church with her. And I'm all messed up. I'm like, I'm going to no church with all them hypocrites.
Right.
They up in there judging and they go, oh yeah, but all of them going to hell. I might as well enjoy myself and go to hell. And so one day I went into the church, and I thought that people was gonna be, you need to get saved, you need to all that sin you doing. But pastor told them to leave me alone. And so I'm like, okay, I wasn't expecting this.
Right. You thought they were gonna get all on you.
Yes. And so pastor, when I was leaving out, she said, I see you again. I'm like, yeah. So when I came back the next week, I got saved.
Wow. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off here. We see the rain is coming up a little bit. I think we about got enough, and I appreciate you coming out. I took some pictures, and we're definitely gonna pick it up and do more of your story. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And fighting the rain. I was getting dressed, and I said, what should I wear? And I said, Reverend Harris has a story that it was a warrior story. I said, I'm going to put out my one only camouflage thing that I got in the closet, and it'd be fitting. And we love you, and we're praying for you and your family, and it's just a miracle what you're doing. And we're going to go into that more. Amen.
Amen.